I have seen better days. Um, what was supposed to happen was I would start. I have an interview I have to go to at 11, not 11, at 12, rather. I was going to start at 8 exactly because that would give me like a solid 3 hours to kind of just do everything I wanted to do. And to say things did not work out so well was an understatement. I was operating on the expectation I'd have the place to myself this morning, and I didn't end up having that because we're at a point now where people can just like they can have an obligation they have to go to and then just go, well, I just don't feel like going to this. So we're dealing with a full house, but I really just did not feel like getting up and then going to Starbucks. Um, especially I hate the idea that once you get up and you want to stream, you have to drive to a whole separate facility just to do it somewhere. A lot of times just to do it and still end up having interruptions. But yeah, this interview is about, I think, yeah, like a 30 called by the place, and they were doing something with the machine or whatever that made it harder for me to hear the person that was talking to. And the person o'clock, and I said, yes, like they can hear my end. And that depth about how one of the things I despise the most about seeking a job anywhere is the process to getting one. I think it's one of the most rigid, obnoxious, twisty, turvy, waste of time I've ever been subjected to. I mean, a lot of times these places will have you drive to interview with them, which who knows how far that is, right? And then sit up there, smile in your face, and then still not hire you. So the only thing you got out of that was a waste of gas. Or the other tactic they like to use is they will hire some. They'll say they're going to hire someone, and then they'll wait probably like a few days or a week to have you go and fill out paperwork and take this background check and this test. And it's just like I said, even if someone told me they were hiring me, which has happened like once or twice this year, I still wouldn't believe it until I actually started working there, like until they gave me some schedule. I went here or there. Because again, all this stuff is just lies. Like all they do is make it sound as if they want you and then just completely, you uh, either toss you away or do things that are not congruent with that claim or with that earlier pattern of behavior. And I just hate so much that that person heard me talking to them, because again, it's like, first of all, it really is none of their business. But secondly, it's just the illusion of their belief that, oh, if you just want a job, here's a job, that hogwash. So I'm not looking forward to this. Um, I just find the whole thing irritating. I'm really glad I streamed on Friday instead of Saturday because I didn't get back here until probably I left at 8 in the morning. And I didn't get back until like 4 or 5 o'clock. So yeah, I was up there pretty much all day. And after I got back, I was pretty tired because it was like 2 hours of driving, which left me worn out, or at least not feeling, that great. No, I just think it's so sad that like because I mentioned on I think on Friday that the same group of people who talk about wanting you to get a job and saying they're going to help you get a job do basically nothing to ensure that that happens. Like, they really that's why I said it just turns to lip service where people are saying something, but they're not doing anything to indicate this is a true thing that they want. I already said before, I keep feeling more and more like I'm just seeping into the twilight zone. Like with each passing month, it just becomes apparent that this stuff is a joke. Like even when an employer makes it sound as if they want you and they're interested, it's all just a mirage. Um, Again, with these different relatives, they say they care about somebody, they say they love someone, etc. All these stupid terms, but if you actually look at their record, the things that they do and that they don't do, you will find a lot of contradictions. And again, it's like they keep on insisting this, but no one believes them outside of that little pissant bubble because we've watched them fail. We've watched them say they care about someone, but never call that person at all, sometimes for months or even years on end. We've seen them say they care about someone, but if that person is starving, they know they can't count on any of these people to pay for them to get something to eat because they don't care. Um, they'll claim they want this someone to get a job, but do you see them sitting down with you to fill out paperwork of employers online or driving you around town to different places that are hiring so you can fill out stuff manually? No, that you don't, because it's all an illusion. They give lip service to these ideas. These are the types of things that you're supposed to say, right? Because they make you look like a good person, or at least someone that is interested in the well-being of someone else, but in reality, you don't give a damn. It's just interesting how they really they're not even the funny part is, like, it's so easy to fake concern with a lot of this stuff because a lot of it is free, like, you don't have to buy anything for most of it, so if you say you want someone to work somewhere and then you sit them down during a weekend or during the general week and you take some website and fill stuff out with them, it would be a lot more believable in that regard that you actually care because you're doing something that is based around the thing you claim to be concerned about. Whereas in most cases, it's just the complete opposite of that. But like I said, this is the era of fakeness, of things that are not real. Yeah, I got another little message from politicians asking me to donate. They always want me to give some coins to their campaigns. Let's try to adjust the camera angle. They're like, please, please donate. Please. We're really thankful for all of your hard work and assisting us in getting where we are now. Now get us over the finish line. Help us reach our fundraising goal. And every time they do that, I'm just sitting there like, at a certain point, it's just like, guys, come on. No, this is I just find this whole last year and even probably before that to be so fascinating in how it really is like the time period I consider most associated with saying one thing and doing the other. Because like in the past, it was just crazy chicks that did that a lot of times. Um, but now you're seeing it with relatives, you're seeing it with employers. Like, I mean, I mentioned before, the worst thing this year with an employer was when it was back in April. I applied to some, I think, caregiver agency, and the lady said, "Oh, you've been hired, and we want you to fill out this paperwork." And then I filled out the paperwork the following Monday because they don't have anything. They're like closed down over the weekend. So after filling out the paperwork, I wait for because they say after you do this, we're gonna give you some instructions on when you can get started. I'm like, great, this is terrific. And for about 2 or 3 days, I'm sitting there at my place, just like this, waiting for them to call me. And I get no call for multiple days. And I'm like, okay, it's kind of weird where I fill out the stuff to start working for you guys, but then you don't say anything to me. So I called, I sent one of them, it was two of them that interviewed me. I sent one of them a email basically asking, like, hey, what happened? And after that one doesn't respond, I get another email from the other one who's like, we have decided not to move forward with your with your employment. Thank you so much for apply. I wanted to just spit on the screen. I couldn't believe that they would hire someone that before the person could even start working, just be like, nah. It really pissed me off, especially during that time because that was when we were in that big rush to try and get hired somewhere before the $500 deadline or whatever, as we've discussed before. But I just I never would have seen something like that before. Like, look, jobs were always goofy, and employers have always been liars and snakes, and just done different things to try and make sure that they don't pay you for just, like, hire you. Period. But also, even if they hire you, they don't give you a full shift. There's a whole bunch of little goofy, weird stuff done by these jobs. Okay. But what drives me nuts is the idea that someone would hire you and then just pull the plug. Like, you don't even get to try. You don't even get to attempt to show your capabilities as an employee. They go, you're bad or whatever, so get out. And I've truly never seen that anywhere else or before. That was a brand new thing that really showed the levels of absurdity that these jobs were creeping into. Just the idea that you're going to basically sit here and for the rest of your, I guess, natural existence, keep applying to place after place, institution after institution. And when things don't work out in to your benefit, you're going to be the one that gets blamed, right? No matter what. It doesn't matter how many places you apply to. It doesn't matter how much stuff you're willing to do just to work for somewhere. It's always your fault if you're unemployed. Always, always have to bear the cross. Where the blame? And this goes back to my thing, and I'm still working on this video to decline, but it should come out this week because I just got so busy over the last several days. Like Friday was stuff, and then Saturday was extra stuff, and then Sunday wasn't as much, but still kind of other stuff I was trying to do. So it's something I got on the in the pipeline. But I was gonna say, what drives me nuts is that so much stuff in this era is based around trying to convince you of something that just isn't so. I mean, we were talking about how a lot of streamers or people that post stuff online will say, I love the people that watch my stuff. I think they're amazing. Da, 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 da." But guess what? When you go and turn on their stream or their video, especially their streams, right? Because those are live. you're going to notice a pattern, which is that unless you give them some money, they won't even respond to you. And that's no joke. Unless you give them some coins or some other, like donation, whatever, they don't even acknowledge that you're there. But the super chats and a lot of these people, because I've always said I understand where if a stream has hundreds of people on 1,000 people, you can't read everything everybody writes, but they don't even try to like be receptive or responding to the audience at all. Like they just it's basically just a bunch of locusts flying around um this house that won't let it in, like won't even acknowledge that it's outside. And I do have a problem with that because it goes back to this thing of how to just get the slightest bit of acknowledgement by someone who is more famous than you or more well known, whatever, you have to you have to do this thing that I just you shouldn't have to do if you want to. I guess I'll put it this way: if someone's doing a stream and it's got hundreds of people there, even if they only read like one comment every 10 minutes or 20 minutes or something, right? I would still feel like they're at least trying, right? Because again, there's so many people, I can't reasonably expect them to, be able to read everything. But I'm telling you, a lot of them don't even bother. Like they will have whole sections of stuff just being written out, typed to them, and not respond to a single person unless it's a super chat. And I have a really big problem with that, not because someone donated. I'm never going to have an issue with that. I have an issue with the idea that the only way to get a more successful person than you to acknowledge your existence in any way is to fork over some coins for them. Funny thing is, there's actually some people who, even if you were to donate to them, you still wouldn't be able to directly interact with them, which is also really sad. Like some people on YouTube don't even have like 500,000 subs or a million, and they have it to where even if you donate to them, they still will not directly speak to you. That's why I said the internet is just such a it's such a fascinating place in terms of how a lot of the bigger, more well-known people on these sites, they put themselves out in the public sphere when they release and upload videos, but then they also put themselves in sort of like a bubble where just no one can touch them. Like no one can say anything to them, no one can talk to them, no one can interact with them at all unless they're giving them some money to speak to them. And I, I'm just so fascinated by how this is their subtle way of basically saying that you are not good enough to talk to them because you're a normal person or you're not a well-known person, I should say. You can look at their videos or their pictures if they're on, a site like Instagarbage, but you're not important enough for them to directly reply to you, like to directly say something back. Um, Again, unless there's money involved, that's the only way they can. And it's like that's even more disturbing because it's like just to ask a question of the like not even, "Oh, we're gonna sit here and have some hour-long conversation or something," because there are people that are, I don't wanna say famous therapists, but I've seen public figures where you can pay them to talk to you for whatever amount of time that you think is, beneficial for you, as in, like, so they'll sit back and actually tell you, "Hey, I think you should do this, do that, etcetera, etcetera." Um, and again, that's something I'm not as bothered by because 'cause they're still performing a service, right? But if you ever wanted to just ask a question or have a brief exchange of like, "Hey, how are you?" "Oh, fine. What about you?" And then you reply back, and then they just say nothing. It's like, yeah, I hate that. I really do because basically every time one of them asks, "How are you doing?" I know they don't actually care because after you answer this question, they're gonna just, go back to ignoring you. It's not like if you say, "Oh, my day's been horrible," they're gonna go, "Oh, why? What happened?" And then just like speak to you for like maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. No, they're going to feign concern, and then if you respond in whatever manner, they're going to see you off. So I said, man, the whole thing is just so sad to me. Like people are going out of their way to basically just do as little as possible when they interact with someone. Like, I really like speaking to you for a price. That's why I said I always looked at people with like really big channels on YouTube the same way I look at celebrities, where in the abstract sense, I guess it would be cool to interact with one of these people, right? But then I always have to remind myself that there's only a certain what's the way of putting it? You're still not going to ever have anything meaningful ever come out of it because you're not someone who is considered important by their standards. So like for example, when these people will do their channels, a lot of times they'll bring on someone who has 200,000 subs, 500,000, a million, right? Because they view that person as being on their level or otherwise being someone of significance in their own right. But if you're a regular, normal individual, you can expect to just have no one say anything to you or try to make any overtures toward you. And that's one of the reasons why I said I always looked at the numbers on a lot of stuff on these sites as such a joke because it's like, you know, if I do a video and it gets and it has happened 1,000 views, it's not any better made than one that only gets 10 views. Um, there's all types of factors that could have caused that one to get, a lot more attention. Usually, in most cases, because the title is something that I would say is more attractive in like the sense of, oh man, he put this famous person's name in the title. We have to see what he's saying about them, but it doesn't mean that the video is, you know, better scripted or better lighting, just any of the stuff that you would characterize as making a video objectively better than another one. Like if this is my point of how views and whether someone is famous or not does not determine if they're an interesting person or if they are someone who can do something for a famous person that another that cannot like normally be done. So like just because someone is not notable themselves doesn't mean they have nothing to offer. And that's truly the way a lot of not only just famous people, but a lot of these like these people who think they're internet famous view regular people that they're all up here, right? They're all like on their Mount Everest or whatever, and the rest of us are just these peons that we couldn't even bask in their presence. Like we shouldn't. I'm not kidding you. Like the ego on these individuals is so it's borderline depressing because you have to remember that okay, this take away the person's 500,000 a million subs. What are they? Do they not bleed like you do? Do they not feel like you do? I mean, it's nuts to me how just regular human beings have acted and basically convinced themselves that because they have some large sub count or they were in a movie or whatever that they're better than you. They're more important than you. And not only just in the sense of like, oh, people are gonna ask them questions, take pictures, and have a no, like even if like they can't even acknowledge the fact that you exist unless you give them some money. Can't tell you how many times I've gone to streams. They don't even have like 200 people there, and the person doing the stream won't even read anything anyone's writing. You'll just sit there typing stuff, or in my case, you're spectating. So you'll just sit there and watch as people just type things, and they get no reply, just over and over again, just type, 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 no response. And for the life of me, I couldn't understand how that was normal. Like, so we're gonna just sit here and again, like locusts, swirl around this person and do what? Like, I'm not kidding. There are some actual notable people who stream, like who just make videos, whatever, or just stream, whatever. And I'm not kidding. I don't even bother going to their stuff anymore because I just got so tired of like every time they make one of these damn things, you almost wonder if they can even see the screen of their own stream. Like they don't respond to anybody. There's no interaction whatsoever. And I said, what's the point of doing a live stream if you're not going to talk to anyone? Because if I wanted to just make a video where it's just me talking, I mean, I can just pull up my camera and record it and then, edit it and put it up here. I don't need to do a stream to have that to achieve that same goal. But that's what makes it crazier. Like they don't see the value of anything anyone is writing besides when they can get paid from it. I'm not kidding. There are so many channels where they like again, 1,000 people watching. I kind of get it. 700,000, which probably would never watch any one stream, but you know, thousands or half a thousand people watching, I kind of understand. But when you're talking about a few dozen, um, maybe like 160, 150, 140, and you can't read anything anybody writes. Because the thing people don't understand is a lot of times when these bigger streams are going on, just because a lot of people are watching it live doesn't mean that a lot of people are typing things. So like so if you have, let's say, 200 people, for every 200 people, for the 200 people that are there, maybe like 80 of them are actually typing something, or half of them are typing something, and most of them aren't even typing something every minute. They're just watching. So that's why I said the idea that you can't directly speak to the person who is streaming when they have such a, like a what I think is a manageable audience, I believe is really ridiculous. By the way, we're probably going to get into my next pet peeve about how everybody online has a podcast because I'm not even kidding. Like I was talking to my friend and I was explaining to him the reason podcasts are so appealing as a thing that like everyone is just gravitating towards doing is because it's a way of making content without actually having to make anything. So like if I do a documentary, it's like, yeah, my voice is in there, but I also have to write a script. I have to get the pictures. I have to edit it all together, cut out the stuttering. There's a process involved, right? With podcasts, the only thing they do sometimes is maybe edit out sections where there's like an interruption, but for the most part, it's just a big audio file that gets uploaded on some website and that they can use to hemorrhage their fans of more money. Oh, sign up on this site and you can get video of us doing this. Like, oh, so even if I paid to watch this, I still can't speak to the people who make it. Yay, what a great deal for me. But no, that's the reason why so many people have podcasts. It's a way to make content while doing the littlest bit of stuff possible to actually create something. All you do is get in front of a mic, talk for maybe 50 to 70 minutes about whatever the hell, and then finish recording it, stick it in whatever format that you want to put it in, and then post it online. That's the whole story. All they do is the same thing over and over again. Let's get in the room, let's record ourselves talking to each other, and we'll make that our content every week or every, whatever amount of time they put it out, every 3 days or something. And like I said, I'm not trying to tell anyone what kind of stuff they should make or that they should do what I do or whatever. But I don't know. I do think there is something to be said about how even the people who put money behind this stuff can't even talk to the people who make it. Like even if there's some service that you're providing for these people, like, oh, you want me to financially support your podcast? I don't know why they need financial support for them sitting in a room talking to each other, or whatever. Sure. Oh, I still can't actually interact with the people who I'm financially supporting. Okay. No, everything is just so, it's just like I said, people who think they're famous. And when I say that, I'm not, I'm actually not bothered by offending people because, as I've explained before, fame is something that is, it is not all encompassing. It is as subjective as you could get. There are people who have been in movies that have been seen by millions, and they don't even, there are people who saw it don't even know their name. They just watched the film and they couldn't bother to look up what's this actor's name. There are people who have had literally millions of votes cast for them in elections 20, 30, 40 years ago. And if you ask somebody today, who you know that person? No. So I'm just saying that fame is not, it's not something that's permanent. It's not something that's all encompassing. It is about as subjective as you can get. Someone who I may lionize and think about constantly or otherwise be very familiar with, you may have no idea who the hell that is. It's true. That's just the nature of this stuff. Like that's unfortunately, um that's just how focusing. You go up to one of them and try to talk to them and they just, don't say anything back, or and again, like it doesn't make any sense when you remember that a lot of them don't even have like loads and loads of people trying to message them. Like some of them truly are only known by a circle of people that are into the type of thing that they were in or whatever, and they still act like they're the most famous, too busy for you person. And you could have the most modest expectations, like, okay, me and this person are gonna have some full-on conversation, but just like a hello, like, hey, how are you? You can't even get that. And that's why I said I never got int I guess following these people or trying to, be more involved with them because it's like, for what? They don't acknowledge you, they don't say anything back, they just act like you don't even exist. And everything about it is so hollow. It's like, hello, person who I uh am supporting the show of. Oh, you're gonna write something back to me, or you're gonna read what I wrote. Yay. I mean, I'm gonna give you a specific. You want to talk about an overinflated ego? You can see that with TYT. I mean, these people have 5 million subscribers, and when they do streams, they might have like, it's always some number lower than 20,000. I think their average on streams is probably about 6 or 7,000. I'm not even kidding. They're at a point where I think they actually don't even read all the super chats. Like, people are literally sending them in money and they don't even reply to that. At least with them, I'm sympathetic in the sense of like, okay, several thousands of people watching is hard to navigate through. But again, they don't even try at all. You might as well be typing to yourself. I'm not kidding. They act like complete, just they just treat the people around them like phantoms. Like, and that was a point I made about the lady that had been ignoring me for the last 2 months after calling me her friend and saying that I was someone that she liked speaking to and all the rest of that, all the rest of the sweet nothings. It's like, that's a person who is not well known, is not some notable celebrity, and that's not me insulting them. It's just reality. I'm not one either. But and that's why it drives me crazy that I'm getting the same response from a normal person that I would expect to get from a famous person. Except the famous person is going to be a hell of a lot less malicious because most of them don't even know who I am. So it's not like they're doing it on purpose like she is. I don't know, I just said to myself, it's really nuts that you can have someone who sat there and spoke to you for hours on end, right? Who you felt like you built some form of a connection with, even if maybe it was kind of quick or whatever. But again, the point is, like, you still spent hours talking to them just for it to end up going nowhere and having your time completely wasted with, again, sweet nothings, like just stuff that doesn't go anywhere. But she really does act like a celebrity, at least with regard to like going out of her way to ignore someone that tried to speak to her. I haven't made any attempts since the start of August because that was when I knew the clown car was just going full speed ahead. But I just found it so interesting how this lady that is not notable in the slightest is giving me the same response as someone who is famous. Like, you're basically getting from her what you would get from someone who is well known. Like, I find that really funny because this is what they do. They sit here and they all believe they're too good for you. Like, they even people who have achieved nothing, who have no type of accolade to point to whatsoever, they think they're the best thing that was ever made. Uh, and you could never breathe their air. I mean, I can't tell how many times I've seen it to where There will be some woman who's posting pictures on Insta garbage, or maybe she's got some channel that only has like 50 subs or something. And again, I'm not insulting anyone with low sub count. I'm just explaining that in a lot of cases, there's not a reason for this person to feel overwhelmed, but because of their belief that they're better than you, they still will act as if they are. They still will have someone say, "I like your stuff," etc. Just no response. Have people do a stream where somebody comes there and they don't say anything. It really drives me insane. Like just how insulated they are. Like I guess it's like this. When you choose to make videos or become an actor or just anything having to do with entertainment, you are, whether you like it or not, consenting to being in a field of public exposure. That's why there's a lot of actors who people ask for their autograph because people know who they are from the stuff that they're in. So to sit here and block yourself off from those that not only like your stuff, but in many cases financially support your stuff, I just think is really tacky. Like I just think there should be some way to have, even if it's just a brief 2-minute conversation with these people. Um, like I have again no expectation that they're supposed to sit there and talk to you for hours on end or nothing like that because they have a bunch of fans in a lot of cases, but just something, like throw me a bone. I'm very serious when I say it's tragic in a way that like you just get more and more cynical with this stuff of how eventually we're going to get to a point where um well we already have gotten to, because like you go back to the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, there were actors that would go places and maybe people would take pictures of them, maybe people would um ask them for an autograph, whatever. But we're at a point now where you have like a completely lack of, or I guess you call it an omission of just any acknowledgement by e-celebrities, by people who are only considered well known because they get on the computer and talk for an hour or 2 hours or a few hours a week. Like what's even worse is because of how the internet functions, right? Where they try to bypass YouTube and go to other sites like Patreon. They even have people who are directly supporting them financially, like going a step above and beyond to support them financially, and they still won't respond to them. They still won't say anything. They still won't talk to them. They still won't acknowledge them. And it's like you wouldn't have seen that 20 years ago when there was no Patreon, where there was no Steam Labs, where there was no Twitter, where there was no YouTube. You wouldn't see an actress, an actor, a director, a commentator, whoever get paid by a small group of dedicated fans and then just never respond back. Just don't not talk to any of them. And I have a really big problem with that because I just think there should be like if you're gonna do this thing of acting like you're better than everyone else, at least show some humility towards those that are going out of their way to support you financially. Like, you know, the few times that people did it for me, I always said something back to them, even if they didn't show up to my stream. But it's like we're really at a point now where you can directly reach into your pocket and give money to some actor who's online, or actress or cosplayer or vlogger, and if their channel is a certain size, it could be 100,000, 500,000, a million. They will just not say anything to you. This is not a thing that we used to have. It really isn't. We've always had celebrities. We've always had people who were famous that maybe a lot of people wanted to like grab or feel on, or that thing where like people get mystified by celebrities where they just kind of like want to touch them, or just, I'm not saying I agree with this because I don't, but just there's always been an allure of a well-known person is in front of me. I feel so and I'm not trying to insult anyone who feels away, because I get it, like the mysticism of, oh man, this person that's been in this movie is right there by me, that knew this person, etc. But we're at a point now where even when you are directly backing them in ways that are not normal, like you're doing something special that's for their benefit, they still won't talk to you. They still won't say anything to you. They still won't speak to you. And I don't know where it's leading to. I really don't. I think it's an extreme that's probably going to go even more extreme, but I don't know what that entails. No, I'm not kidding. It's I just been observing this for a very long time. Like the way that a lot of these people treat those that back them versus just how it's interesting that you can go above and beyond to support someone and still basically end up with the same result of no acknowledgement. I mean, they will. I'm not kidding. I've seen whole streams where they don't even have 70 people watching. It'll be maybe like 10 comments moving every other minute, and they'll be like, "Oh, we might not have enough time to read everybody's comments." Like, what are you talking about? They're barely even writing anything, dude. All day long, just message after message, and they just let it go by. Just and like I could see the argument being made, "Oh, they're here to talk about whatever, something important." I get it, but a lot of times when I'm not even kidding, if you go and listen to some of these people's podcasts, they are not speaking about anything. You could watch one episode and it would basically be the same thing over and over again. Like there's nothing that they're discussing that even remotely requires it to where, you know, oh my God, this groundbreaking thing they're revealing. No, not at all. Usually when they get on there, they talk about some topic, and then if you want to see their benefits, so to speak, you go on whatever other pay site they want you to sign up for. But a lot of those Instagram streams are the same thing. It's just people typing stuff and no one gets read. Like I only didn't read the comment that you wrote because if you're going to mention any color, you should put greens or blues or purples. Um, so you just didn't write a color I really like that much. So just put in another color and I'll respond to it. I remember I was on Reddit this one time and this guy made a thread and he was like, "How does anyone wear white underwear? They get dirty so easily." And I was just thinking of all the replies, and people were telling him to like tuck in, like get some toilet paper and like tuck that in between him and the underwear, and that'll keep it clean. I just found it so comical. It's like having to go online and seek out this question. I sub to you for the I don't know what the fit is. I mean, I guess thanks, but I'm kind of like the last person on earth that cares about subs because, as I've explained before, most of them do not watch. They are an overinflation of the number of support that someone actually has. And once you get past 1,000 of them, you really don't need any more. Like they're just there. But I guess I appreciate it. It is what it is. I can't tell you how many channels there are where somebody has 100,000 subs, and then you go and look at the videos. It's like 1,000 views, 800 views, and I'm like, man, this guy really has like a tenth of a million subscribers, and almost none of his videos can crack 1% of that. Somebody's calling me from Malibu. Hello, hello. I thought it'd be a spam risk call. If you keep showing up, people will keep subbing. I mean, they're allowed to do whatever they like. I'm just saying that I don't get the point of subscribing to somebody and then just not watching any of their stuff, which happens a lot. Like, I'm not kidding. I've probably only subbed to maybe 2 channels in the last, like, 3 or 4 years. Like, I really am done with this whole thing of, "Ooh, this person makes videos. Let me watch them once a month." You'd be very surprised how rare I subscribe to somebody. It's not a common thing. It used to be, but not anymore. So they can take their subs and they can put them wherever they like. I just wish this particular sub would tell me how to pronounce their name because I can already see you making a video. He mispronounced my name and it offended me, and the only part he got right was the S. And then I'll be contacted by CBS for a statement. I'll say, well, I mean, they didn't explain to me what the proper way of stating it was, so I can only be blamed for so much. They didn't articulate. There are a few YouTubers I've been watching for years, like Kyle. I really interact. Though you're right about that. Well, look, my thing is, I don't watch every single vid he puts up, but the ones I do, I leave a comment. Um, and I'm very serious when I say I can count the number of commentators I watch regularly and am subscribed to probably on like one hand because I just don't see the purpose of clicking a button and then not engaging with the material that these people have made. Because again, if somebody has a million subscribers but they only get 1,000 views, what difference does it make? So yeah, I really just abstain from subscribing to people. It's a very rare thing, and it only happens with people that I know I'm probably going to watch again, or at least feel some semblance of an interest in, actively backing the content of. Sounds like authenticity is important to you. The internet these days is opposite of authentic. Oh, trust me, it's more than the internet. I mean, I'm just gonna give you this brief little hint. Imagine if I told you, hey, if you want to come see me, you can come to this event where me and all the other streamers and different people online are going to be there, and it's like $25 to get in, right? Because they want to support the venue, and you show up, and after you get in, you come to my booth, and you're like, oh, I like your stuff, etc., etc. I'm like, oh, cool. Do you want an autograph? And you say, yeah, okay. And I'm like, okay, that'll be $60. And you're like, oh, okay, sure. And then after you get the autograph, like, wow, thanks for supporting my stuff. Would you like a picture with me? And you're like, yeah. I'm like, that'll be $40. Dude, like I don't even know what you're because like I'm not even saying this to be offensive. I don't know what gender you are. But I just want you to understand this has gotten so bad that now even people in real life, famous people, people who think they're famous, whatever, are getting to a point where they charge you not little itty bitty amounts of money either for standing in a photo with them. Those prices I just gave you were not random either. Those are the exact ones that I've seen in real life. Well, what I'm getting at is if I'm being fair to the famous person, to the person who thinks they're famous, I can understand charging for an autograph because autographs often are taken and posted online and sold for even higher prices than what the person got them for from the individual who is charging. Okay. So, for example, if I were to sign a piece of paper for you for $40, you could then take that. I'm not saying anyone will buy it, but you could, if you wanted to, take that and then sell it for 60 or 80 or 100 um, on the internet. So in that instance, I understand where they would charge to sign something. But when you're talking about a photo with them, like you're talking about me and you standing next to each other in a picture. Why do I why do you need money for that? Because you're like, in what way would you as the non-famous person benefit financially from having a photo of you and me? Like, what are you going to be able to take that picture and sign it yourself, and then people will pay you? No, you can't. Or rather, no one would pay you because they don't know who you are. So what? What logic do I, as the famous person, have in this scenario to charge you for standing next to me in an image? Like, what's the logic of that? Again, the autograph thing, I completely understand. People can take it, sell it even higher prices. You want to make sure you get something out of it. I get it, but I hope you realize that if you paid for an autograph in this hypothetical, right? $60 autograph, $40 picture, that's $100 just from me, just to have me sign a piece of paper and have me stand next to you in a photo. And if 10 people pay for that, that's $1,000 if they get both. That's why I said don't even try to pretend this is normal. It is not. These people should be ashamed of themselves. Like, they will sit there and just, my thing is, and I tried to make this point when I was speaking to someone. I said, it's one thing to charge something, right? But the other part you have to consider is if it's a convention or like some other type of place that you're in where there's a bunch of different actors, etc., maybe you should be considerate of the idea that that person might not be the most financially well off, and they might also want to get some other people too. You know what I mean? So like maybe instead of charging 40 for a picture with them, you can maybe charge 20 instead. Just an idea. Dude, I'm not even kidding. If when they do stuff like that and they have you pay for it, the person tries to act so nice. Hey, how are you? And they come and they put their little arm around you, and I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, if they didn't get the money, they wouldn't be acting nice to you. It's all fake because it is. Like, that's the truth. If they didn't get compensated in that instance, then they wouldn't act nice towards you. They would just ignore you. People who don't charge like that and are you cool with their and are cool with their fans stand out. Well, that's why I'm saying that like if you really wanted to do something with fans, you could. Like if you go to a convention or some other type of like in real life gathering and you've got a booth, you could ask the people managing the place, "Hey, put some seats down around here. I want to talk to some of the fans when they come and they you know, even if they don't buy anything, I just want to speak to them, just talk, interact, see how they're doing." If they did something like that, I'd be a hell of a lot more convinced they actually care about the people that support them or like them or whatever, because in that instance, they're giving you a chance to have a direct back and forth, even if it's just a few of you at a time. But they don't even do that. It's all just give me some coins or get out of my face, basically. There's so many things they can do that to show that they're interested in talking to like to fans. Um, so when they don't do it, you know it's because they just don't care. Like they're just there to make some money and then get out. That's that's their whole objective. They're here to make some money by smiling and writing their name on stuff, and that's the whole purpose. Any other pretending of decency or whatever is whatever. It's nothing. Dude, the only way you could get me to charge for a picture with me would be if I was like some major, like I'd have to have the biggest channel on the entire site of YouTube or have one, I don't know, like a Nobel Prize. Like I would never have a big enough ego to be like, you want to take a photo with me? I don't see it. Two Andrew Jacksons. Like I couldn't do it. I I don't know. I just feel so tacky about the idea of like, oh, here's this person that wants to be in an image with me. Time to pay me. I don't know. I personally don't like it. Again, the autograph thing, I get it. There's a reason why they do that, and I understand. Even if I do sometimes think that they price it a little too high, depending on what it is. But that photo thing, I just thought was goofy. I said they will really sit here and charge you for that. And it's not even like a little bit like, hey, 10, 20, right? Because it is just them standing and smiling and, pretending like you're the most exciting person in the world when all they're doing is just taking some money. But it's like, they really have no problem with just with a straight face being like, "You want me to post in a picture with you? Okay. Where's my $40?" I don't know, I just I can't get behind that at all, man. That's why I said anytime you see a famous I'm gonna end this with this. Anytime you see a famous person, a person who thinks they're famous, whether it be someone that's been in movies or TV shows or someone that's been on TV as a commentator, someone who's been online as a commentator, whatever. Anytime you see one of those people and they try to say in either a video or to your face that they care about their fans and those that support them, don't believe it. Because any chance they get, they will find a way to cut you out of getting some kind of thing that they know you would enjoy by putting a price tag on it. The autograph thing again is fair game, but just to take a photo with one of them, you need this amount of money, that amount of money. If you want one of them to speak to you a lot of times online, you need this amount of money, that amount of money. Again, the whole thing is stupid to me because they like I just wish they were honest. They like I would have so much more respect if they came out and said, "Look, this is all just a thing for me to get some coins or some money, whatever. And you either can pay me or I can get out of here." I would have way more respect. There's no pretense of I love my no, you don't. Get out of my face. So I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of how fame has basically made people's egos go completely to the size of any major landmark you can think of. I'm tired of the deception, and again, there's parts of it I'm sympathetic towards, like with the autographs, but there's just too much um just fakeness. Like it seeps through everything. I mean, it's not even like we talked a good part about the actors, but commentators, so famous people, right? Just when you see them in person, they want you to pay something to get something from them. But even with like jobs and family members, it's gotten like that where everyone just says something and ah man. Megumi, I ought to fly to the UK and I don't know, break your computer or something because I had an interview at 11 o'clock. It's 8:40 or whatever right now. So I was trying to stream for, because none of like the big characters had shown up. I was trying to stream for at least an hour and then finish it and then go to sleep or get a little bit more rest before going and driving over to this place that's like half an hour away. So now you've appeared. My plan has been foiled. It's been ruined. It's been tampered with, destroyed, maligned, messed up. And I'm really, really upset with you. I already know you've come here to complain that I haven't put out the decline. You've got your picket sign and protest stickers ready. Like I said, this weekend was just one damn thing after another. Uh, so, man, right as I was about to pull it, I'll tell you, I feel like sometimes you guys rehearse this. The fitting of the title, it seems too. The reason the title is that way is because normally I get this room to myself on Monday because the other person leaves, but they didn't leave. So I was like, oh, great. I don't have the full thing alone. I'll certainly watch on the replay. No, I was just saying about how a lot of famous people and people who think they're famous try to say that they love their fans or the people that made them, what they are. But when you actually see them, that turns out to not be the case. And I was talking about how I can understand where a person would charge someone for an autograph because you can always take autographs and then charge twice what you paid to get it. Like, oh, This person wants 60 for an autograph, so you can put it online and then charge for 120. Um, some of these people will, like, I'm not kidding. They charge you if you want to take a picture with them, they charge you for that. And it's not like, oh, it's $10, 5. Again, because it's just you standing next to them in an image. 40. And I was explaining to the other person whose name I still can't pronounce that this one person was charging 60 for an autograph, 40 for a picture with them. So if 10 people were to go up to them and ask for this combo, they're gonna that's $1,000. And I know for a fact that when they go to these conventions, they have the wherewithal to determine what types of prices their stuff is. Because I saw another person who, for autographs, it was 30, but you get a free picture with the autograph. I did watch a little bit to catch up on the topic and the things you are saying. I can highly relate to this. It's something I've noticed for a long time. Well, you get my point of how we were discussing how the internet has made people basically incapable of acting like human beings. Like they don't even acknowledge the humanity of the people that they claim to like or otherwise enjoy the presence of. And now we're at a point where even when you see people in person, they act like this. Like, again, autographs, I get charging for it. I do. I'm gonna keep saying it over and over. I get it. But for a photo with a person who is notable, let's put it that way, they want you to pay them almost $50. Yes, even that I find is really scummy, and I've been to some conventions with notable people that charge to even have pictures taken with them, etc. And dude, like, I just want you to understand, um, they're so they have what's called a professional photo op where they take you and they put you in front of this HD camera and they, like at least with that, I kind of get a little bit because it's not just oh a little crappy phone camera. It's like an actual picture with the it's like when you go to I'm talking about like a professional photo, like when you go to some event or some type of gathering that's like a major thing and they have you behind some big giant camera that snaps this big picture of you and the other like I get where that would be something you get charged for, but to just have another person take a picture of you and them together, I think is insane. Like to and even if you had to charge something, the point I'm making is they get to pick what prices that stuff is. Like the convention doesn't force them to charge $40 for a picture. I know that for a fact because the other people were charging lower prices. Um, so when they put up prices like that, that's them basically just letting their greed get out of control. If you want a picture and an autograph from this guy, it's 30. If you want a picture autograph from this other person, it's 100. Like, what is that? I tell you, my favorite part is that when they get the money, they act like you're the most interesting person in the world. Like, I'm not even kidding. If you see the way that they act before they get the money versus how they get it, it's like a total split dual personality where before they get it, they're just standing in line, signing this. And they smile at the person they give the thing to because they got some coins for writing their name. Then when they get the money for a picture, they come up to you, "Hey, how are you doing? Hi." And I just rolled my eyes like, God. Anyone who falls for this illusion, I genuinely feel bad for them. Oh, that's crazy. They make those prices themselves. They can easily price gouge their own fans if they want, and they do. And I was explaining before you showed up that you might really like, you might, for example, say, "It's $40," right? But I want you to think about this. Someone who goes to a convention may possibly have multiple people that they wanted to see, that they wanted to do, get a autograph picture, whatever from. So the higher the prices that you charge may inhibit their ability to get stuff done with the other ones. Because let me tell you something, when I saw that they said cash only, and I didn't know that before showing up because the place did a very poor job of explaining things, I wasn't able to really to get anything unless I went to an ATM machine somewhere. But I wasn't able to get anything done with really anyone else because they all are charging for whether it be an autograph or a picture. And I didn't just instinctively have 100, 200, $300 on hand. But see, if that person had made their picture, for example, 20 instead of 40, I could have possibly gotten one with somebody else too. And that's what my point I'm making, that this is all based around greed. You like when you know the person doesn't have to charge that much for a photo with them, but they do it anyway because they want to squeeze as many pennies out of their fans as they can, then you know that this is just what they do. They are not considerate, not at all. By the way, it was raining, man, and like, you think I'm gonna run out in the rain to go and sit in front of some machine to then have to wait in some giant line to go and get my picture taken with someone that's not even going to remember who I am after today? You know what I mean? Like, they are totally not considerate of their fans, not at all. Like, listen, even if I was a famous person and I charged for an autograph on the internet, right? Like across the internet. If you saw me in person and you said, "Hey, can we take a picture together?" I just can't see a scenario where I would charge someone for, and again, maybe that's my own lack of self-esteem, or but like I don't see where someone could financially benefit from having a photo with me. I don't understand why I would like what the appeal of putting a price tag, and not even just a price tag, but like one that is as high as $40 just to stand next to someone. They care about the money and don't see their fans as an actual worthy individual that deserves their attention unless they pay a price. Yes, that's true. Because guess what? When I was standing in that line, that person didn't say anything to me. They didn't even look my way. Now again, they were signing stuff and you know looking at the people or whatever. But my point I'm making is only after they receive some coins do they try to act as if they're interested in getting to know you or speaking to you. Before that, it's like, again, you might as well not even exist. I'm not joking. Sometimes I feel like if you were to take these celebrities and like look at things from their perspective, where you can like see things from how someone else views it, you would see a bunch of walking, talking dollar signs in the place of fans. Like that's all they see when they go to conventions or expos or any of these other events. They just want money. And it's not even like they just want, this amount so they can get whatever. Like, no, they want to jack up the prices as much as they can. They want literally for a if you wanted an autograph and pictures with this person, $100. And dude, like what drives me nuts is that they know because they go to a lot of these that there's going to be a bunch of people there, right? So that's my point of like it makes even less sense to charge that much because I guess I'll put it this way. When you price something at a certain amount, you might think to yourself in the short term that, yeah, this means I'm going to get even more money. But actually, what you can end up doing by mistake is making it so costly that people who may have sprung for it if it were half the price are just going to say to hell with it. Like, If it were 20 instead of 40, not only probably would more people have come to get the picture taken, but they also probably would be even happier that they can now go to multiple people instead of just, well, I got to save up so I can get that one, you know. You get my point of how when you make something cost so much, it can backfire, and oftentimes it does. Because I'm gonna just let you know this tip. I didn't get an autograph from this person simply because one, because I just uh $60. Again, I don't have the cash on hand with me. That's the biggest issue. But the other part is I already have something that they signed that I got off of eBay like at the start of the year. Um, but yeah, the photo part was like the main appeal, right? Like physically being with that person. But man, did they just jack up my excitement about that? Like, holy hell. I mean, you really sit here and just, oh, you want to take a picture with me, person that, some of these people have idolized me for years and love the stuff I'm in and done or whatever. Okay, $40. You better believe, man, when that thing came up, I didn't even look at that person. I just stared directly into the camera. They spoke to me. I had my whole head turned like this, like as they were on the side of me. I said, let's not try to be pleasant. Let's not try to have any kind of supposed concern for how the other one is doing. Just taking an image and then I'm going. No, I won't stay long for a Kotsky merchant. He called me dirt cheap. Oh, Akatsuki merchant. From now on, I'm gonna ignore every comment you write because I've been getting harassed by my ex. So you're gonna have to bear the brunt for their for her bad decision making. Because my taste in women is so trash. You're gonna have to bear the cross for 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 their action. I've even seen some cosplayers who charge to have their pictures taken by fans of who they are. See, that's even more insane because remember, at least with actors, they're the one who played the character or whatever. Cosplayers are literally just people who made a costume. So like there's no justification for that. That's literal just fan greed. That's all that is. Think about it. Like the actor is the person who played the character. The cosplayer is someone who made an outfit that whether, we can debate the merits of it or how good it is, but they own nothing. They're just a fan like you and I that's dressed up. I will never ever pay someone to do something that's completely free. Well, Kotsky Merchant, you say that on this stream, but I actually have an email from you where you requested my autograph for $50. You said I want the signature of my favorite streamer. And I said, all right, well, let me get out. I'm gonna go and pick a picture and I'll sign it. Like I said, I get autographs. I completely understand, but the photo part is what I just can't wrap my head around. Like, and it's not even just being charged for it, it's how much they wanted is what I thought was like borderline insane. And the fact that they do the like thing of, oh, by the way, cash only. So even if you technically have the money, you still can't actually do anything with it because you don't have the physical dollars on hand. Yeah, that was completely crazy. Thankfully, I did get my picture taken by a cosplayer I liked, and of course, no payment was needed. Was just genuinely fun interaction. Well, I'm glad that happened because a lot of these people do act kind of crazy when they get these costumes on. Man, I'm telling you, when they took that picture, I didn't even look at that person. Like, I just faced forward or to the side or whatever. Um, and that was it. I didn't even I said, we're not gonna sit here and act like we're friends. We're not gonna sit here and act like you care about me. We're just taking this photo and then I'm on my merry way. And then hopefully after my channel becomes more notable, I can then sign the picture and sell it online. Dude, you gotta admit that would be like the biggest irony of ironies where you had to pay to get your picture taken with some like some actor or celebrity or whatever, and then you become more famous than the actor. So now you can sign something that has both of you in it and make back what it cost. I just find like something just so just ironic about that. Like the idea that you had to pay to get a photo with someone, and then eventually you end up being more notable than the person that you took the picture with. So now you can sign that and get it in their place. Like, oh, thanks. Where everything just got flipped. Like this picture has this actress and your favorite streamer, me. Trust me, I got about 4 different ones I can use. So there will be a lot of selections, yeah, I should say. I just think it's so crazy. Oh, by the way, my favorite thing about the was it content creators are becoming the new celebrities. Oh yeah, that's I made that point earlier. I was talking about how a lot of content creators are acting are like such divas that sign up for their other or their disc whatever. Even if you sign up for those types of things, still end up getting completely ignored by that person like almost all year long to where they just won't say anything to you. Like I've seen channels where they don't even read the super chats. Like that's how entrenched they are in whatever they're talking about. By the way, what I thought was so funny is that they put their arm behind my back, and I was just thinking how and look, I'm just letting you know this is the like how I actually feel. I think one of the most dangerous things you can do is try to have physical contact with someone, especially if you're a man, because what ends up happening is the person can say, "Oh, I felt uncomfortable." Um, so what happens is that a lot of times when I take a picture with some person I'm not friends with or familiar with, and they touch me, I don't touch them back. So like they have their arm behind my back, but I have like one hand facing forward, the other one to my side because I don't feel comfortable touching any of these people. I really don't. Um, like I said, we live in the meat. I just keep my hands entirely to myself. Even in situations where the other side is, I understand that, totally get that. Man, I'm telling you, when she put her hand behind my like 2007 or 6, like no, this is the era of oh, this person made me feel like and like I actually was not uncomfortable, but I guess nervous. So that would be true, but you know what I'm talking about. Like if the dynamic was different and this wasn't some very tall man with some little woman, I'm not a prick, so I'm not going to try and like do anything like this. Just I'm just saying that from my own vantage point, I never touch any of these people. They'll put their hand behind your back, your shoulder, whatever. I never grab anything back because I just don't feel comfortable. I don't. Like, and you could see that in the pictures where every image you can either see both of my hands or I'm in a pose where like you can tell they're both down or something. It's always just me keeping minds to myself because like I'm not kidding. The easiest way to get in trouble over doing basically nothing wrong is touching someone. So that's that. I feel really bad for Akatsuki Merchant. Ever since I started ignoring his existence, he's just kind of withered away. I'm gonna do him like the chick did me, where I'm saying, "Who said I was going to ignore you again?" And then right after the stream, where I tell him I'm gonna stop ignoring him, I go right back. Man, she is awful. Megumi, I still can't figure out what I'm gonna do. Is I'm just gonna take all the different, not all the messages, like all the really offensive ones, and just put them all in the one big collage picture that just has all the stuff she wrote about, oh, I care about you too. I consider you a friend, etc., etc. I'm putting all that in the one thing. It's depressing when you think about it, but that is the era we are in, though. And man, I'm telling you, there are pictures of people at conventions from back in the day, like early 2000s, the 90s, whatever. They were happy. Like I've seen pictures where a man will pick up an actress and like hold her, I'm talking about, like, what's that pose where you hold someone in like a cradle, I guess you call bride carry, where you have like the shoulder part and like um the lower part of the thighs or whatever. And people did poses where like they were like had their chests together, like when they go to have the anime conventions, they do like the fusion pose and the little like I'm talking about. That's what I find so sad about this era, because all the excitement of, oh man, I'm seeing this person from this show or this movie I liked, it's gone. Like, yeah, it's cool to see them, but you don't really get to do anything with them. You don't get to, just like actually have some damn fun. It's sad. Uh Hate hearing that crap from them because I know it isn't real, but yeah, sounds good. Dude, I'm telling you, like, I always every when that person tried to ask me how I was doing, the famous one, I was like, I thought to myself, my own family doesn't even care about me, let alone a famous person. Like that's the only thing I have to remember to just have the illusion broken. All I have to do in a scenario where I'm by a famous person, they're trying to ask me how I'm doing because they're getting some money, is just remind myself, my own family doesn't care about me. So of course a celebrity doesn't. That's all it takes. You have all these fans, they get obsessed. Oh, this person, I feel like I have a nope. I am a walking, talking dollar sign like everybody else here. Once they get their coins, they will toss you right back out. Go to the next person. That's it. Yeah, I went to a con recently. Oh, I forgot I'm ignoring the Akatsuki Merchant. Everyone there looks so miserable, so I left midway into the convention. Like, why stay at an event where everyone is miserable and unhappy? What is that? Why you left my stream? Because you said everyone was miserable and unhappy? What a sick thing to write about me. Just for I'm banning you. First, I have to delist you as a mod. Let me do that right now. So we're gonna remove you as standard moderator. Then we're gonna remove your message. Then we're gonna put you on timeout. Then we're gonna hide your channel. So you're gonna have at least 4 things done you in the span of the next 10 minutes. So these are your final messages. You better make them count. Man, you're so lucky I'm not right-handed because I'd have the Infinity Gauntlet on this hand and then like doing the removal like and the whole channel just vanished. So my streams also make you miserable and unhappy. I'm not even kidding. I've actually seen that where they've had streams where where like the person doing the stream gets mad at the mod and they have like a whole public back and forth. It's so ghetto. I never should have trusted you. Hey Megumi, we're at a point where everyone can touch you, but you can't touch them. How fair is that? So she can put her arm around your back and on your I think on my chest too. Yeah, from the second one, and like you're just don't say anything. Don't touch back. What I thought is really funny is for the professional photo, they actually have on the instructions, do not kiss the person you take the picture with. I'm like, who would be stupid enough to try that with someone they don't even know? That's why I said some of these conventions, like, because they had some instructions that were really good, like, hey, it's not a meet and greet. You just take a picture, you keep it moving, like a speed run of pictures, right? Just you come in, you come in, you come in. They actually put on the rules, do not try to kiss the person you take the photo with. I'm like, you guys must think that fans are like the dumbest, most non-functioning brain people in the world. I mean, you really, if you don't believe me, I think their site is still up. I'll go and screenshot it. Oh, I didn't even get to mention, so like $40 for the picture at the booth, at the little area that that person was staying in. A picture with them, and this was true with everybody. A picture with them in a professional camera lit setting was $60. And get this, you know what a digital copy is like a PNG JPEG file, like a you know what I'm talking about, the digital like for example, if I took a picture out right now, the digital copy is automatically on my camera. I would just have to upload it somewhere, and then you would have the digital copy as well, and then you could print it out. They give you a printing of the picture in an era where most people, I think, you could assume would probably just want the file. But get this, that you can get the file, the PNG file. You just have to pay an extra $10 for it. So think how crazy this is. They found a way to not only charge you to take a picture with this person regularly, but also a way to charge you if you want to take a professional photo with them, and to charge you if you want to have a digital copy of a picture that you already paid for. And they because they didn't mention on their website anywhere about oh these people that are signing autographs are also going to take pictures at their booth or whatever. I bought the $60 or $70 one thinking that was the only way I could take a picture with this person. So you see how because they basically, I hate to say lied by omission, I ended up getting like duped into spending I think like 100 some dollars on photos. It is maximizing profits, but it's also a lack of clarity. They don't explain in there like I'm serious. Going by what their site was reading as someone who's never been to one of these before, I thought they were only signing things. It is at the expense of the fans. Now, Megumi, if you want to take a photo with me, if you ever come from the UK to the US, I'll take it with you, but I'm going to need at least $40. And if you want me to sign something, I'll do that too, but I'm going to need at least $60. And if you want a digital copy of the pictures you take with me, you're going to have to pay me an extra $10. If you want to take a picture with me in a professional setting, it's going to be $60 on top of that. And did I also mention that if you want to even see me in the first place, it's going to be $30. If you want to park to come see me. So when you come, you pull up in a vehicle. If you want to park, that's $15. If you want to come see me for 2 days, then it'll be $60. Which means if you want to park for 2 days, that's $30. Dude, all they knew how to do was just charge you for this, that, this, that. I mean, like, I hate paying for parking. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. I despise it. I would rather walk 3 miles than pay for somewhere to park. I hate it. There are very few things I despise more than paying for parking. I have always thought it was stupid that just to put your car somewhere, you have to give somebody some money. And people just accepted this. They did. They did. Like I said, I only accepted it because I didn't know when I came. They didn't say, "Oh, you can take a photo with someone besides the," like, I'm not even joking. I thought because they have security guards up there, I really thought when I came, if you try to take a picture with a celebrity that's not through that official photo, snap reel thing they have, I thought you could get in trouble. Now, of course, you couldn't, but, it is absolutely insane. But again, it's their lack of clarity that made this even worse because if I knew you could take pictures with people, I would have brought, more cash on hand. But because I didn't know that, I only really got to do it with one person. So they did hamper my, I don't know, dude. I always feel like every time I do something, especially if it's something I've never done before, it's gonna go wrong. Like there's gonna be some part of it that just does not work out. Like I was thinking maybe I'm gonna wake up too late because it was at, you know, in the morning or whatever. Maybe the person is gonna cancel at the last minute. Maybe because they did say the stuff is like non-refundable. So I kept thinking that something is going to go wrong. There's going to be some part of this that doesn't, and what's really sad is how close it was to being, at least like good. Like the microtransaction, the all the little different money stuff was goofy, right? But like to sit here and actually have just that whole thing of cash only really messed up a lot of what I had planned. If I knew that, I could have had a much better time. Even if I did have to spend, you know, 40 or 60 extra bucks or whatever the amount was. Like it really did mess it up for me. That's why people are able to get away with absurd charge, ridiculous, and you'll just accept it because a lot of people don't like to think or question things. Well, yeah, but also it's like sometimes you're misled. They did not mention on that site anywhere that you could get a picture with any of these people besides the booth. So, as someone who'd never been to one of these before and was trying to make sure they followed all the guidelines and rules, etc., I thought I was being careful in choosing to go for that. It really just hampers the experience in general for fans. I find it very disingenuous. They conceal certain info on the website because they know it may seem unappealing. You could lead these people to a cliff and charge them $100 to be pushed off. Like I said, the autograph thing, I understand. But look, this is just my opinion. Knowing that she and everyone else there had the right to make the prices whatever they wanted for their own like personal stuff means that if she wanted to, she could have made the pictures $10, $20, um, but chose not to because she, like the rest of them, knows a lot of people want to see them, so they're going to do whatever it takes at whatever unreasonable price to get a photo, get an autograph, etc. And I found the whole thing very sad. I really did. That is really huge. They can make their own prices on stuff. I didn't know. Well, I knew. Look, so what I did when I first got there was I looked around and I saw the different prices. I saw one lady was asking for 20 for a picture with her. I saw again the guy who 30 for an autograph, you get a free pictures. So I'm saying that's why I'm faulting the like not those particular two, but that one in particular because they're charging 100 if you want an autograph and pictures. So like 3 times the price of that other person. And I just think that's insane. I really do. And that is okay, you thought you wrote something else, but it's I just I can't understand the logic of this stuff. I really don't. Other than greed. Like I said, it's cool to see famous people in person, right? But at a certain point, you start to wonder like how much of this has gone to their head. Like, because think about a lot of these people are told over and over, "You're so great, you're so amazing, I love you, you're so interesting. Oh, you're such a great actor, you're such a great actress, you're such a great composer." You know, they're like you have to wonder how much of that have they allowed to convince them that I am important. And not only am I important, I'm so important that you need to give me almost $50 just to take a picture with me. Well, it's like, we all, I think a lot of us do probably have an ego, but I swear for the life of me, I would never charge someone to take a photo with me. And like on top of that, even if I had to, like, let's say they mandated you have to charge something, right? It would be at a minimum, like maybe 10 or $20 because, like, again, I'm at an event where there's other people that you may want to also get photographed with. Like, that's why I said, the ego on these people, the inconsiderate nature of what they're doing is what I just found so frustrating because I don't have a problem with someone wanting to make money off their public appearances. I really don't. I have a problem with them charging ridiculous prices in that pursuit because they're not reasonable. Like I don't think it's reasonable to have to pay 40 bucks for a photo with someone. And of course once they get their money, oh, how are you? Hi. Just get out of my face, man. That's why I said I was so glad the way I acted. I didn't even look in their direction. I stared straight at the camera. Let's get this over with. I took my pictures and I was out. There was no conversation, 'cause again, it's not real. It's all an illusion. Remember, hey, no, Megumi didn't. You didn't see No Way Home, but not No Way Home. What's the other one? Far From Home with Mysterio with all the illusions. That's what when you go to these conventions, that's what happens. Where the actor pretends to care about you after they get some coins. Hey, how are you doing? But it's all an illusion. It's all this big this big trick. I bet you their tone would change if the fans simply stop paying attention. Oh, absolutely. Dude, the fans allowed them to get away with this stuff. So if no one came to that person's line, they probably would think, "Oh, maybe I did charge too much." I think it's funny you can actually get their at least I've seen their autograph online cheaper than it is to get it from them directly, which I do find extremely comical. It's like, so if I want your signature from you, it's 60, but if I want it from some seller, it's like 20 or 30. I wonder who I'm going to hit up for the signature. It's a big mystery to me. Imagine Megumi comes to my stream. I don't say a word to him the whole stream. And then he sends me a super chat. Hi, Megumi. Thanks for sending that. I really appreciate you. I'm so glad that we're able to speak. And, I hope you keep coming because every time you show up, you write things that I really love. And, dude, like, you would say, really? Are you sure? Because last I checked, before I sent you this money, you acted like I didn't exist. I was going to mention something that occurred recently related to this nature of pricing stuff. I would immediately call you out for being fake. Well, that's my point. That the idea that you're going to do a stream or some other, like, listen, that's why I brought up the point of how seeing them act like that in real life is even worse than when they're like when you're online, you post something, people write stuff, you choose not to reply to it, whatever. When people are physically in front of you and they watch as you basically don't even acknowledge anyone in the line before you, sign your thing and get your compensation, they can tell, like, yeah, you just want, just it's just a payday. Okay, I'll sign this, post for a picture, do my little, stupid smile, and then after that I can go back to wherever I'm from, and that'll be that. Internet behavior is starting to bleed into real life. It is, like, I'm not kidding. These people are like, it's almost as if they don't even act like human beings. They act like they have a pull string on their back that gets pulled by the guy that's with them, their John or whatever. And once it gets pulled, after they're like, whatever, suddenly they smile. They want to touch you. They want to act like you're so interesting and they're captivated by you, but they don't care. I'm serious. If you saw how indifferent she was before getting the money and how animated she was after getting it, you would be able to like, I'm not even kidding. This stuff is literally, I feel like I'm in a cartoon. Like I'm in a real life um animation. It's like it's not even real anymore. Everything is just so hollow in terms of the way people act and everything relating to it. This woman was in a server I was in on Piscord. And you stole my terminology. And she seemed to want to have a genuine date with someone, but there was a huge catch. This sounds like what like the synopsis on the back of the book where it enticed me, like, oh, what's the catch? I really could picture that too. You give the actor some money, and then like the guy that's with them pulls the string on their back, and suddenly they're jumping for joy and trying to talk to you and saying hi and all the rest. No, whenever they have a convention, be prepared to spend around $200 just to even get a little bit of stuff. Yeah, people don't even talk normally anymore. They just spout off a bunch of memorized phrases and talking points and don't engage in any type of actual conversation. And see, that's why I said that I blame them, the actors, because if they want to talk to you, they will show that. Like these people, when they're at these conventions, now I'll read what the rest of what Megumi's written in a second, but you understand when these people are at conventions, they get to pick what type of stuff is there with them. They could say, "Hey, you know what? Can you bring me a few extra seats? I want to talk to some of these people when they come." They don't have to immediately rush away. And that's my point. That if they wanted to have at least the appearance of trying to have meaningful conversations, they could, but they don't because they don't care about anything other than stuff in their pockets. She was asking to be paid after sending a video of herself She was charging half price up front and the other half when you supposedly meet up with her. Now, do you really think anyone is going to fall for this nonsense? Certainly not. Dude, it's so funny how if a man came online and said, I'll send you was this a nude video, but I'll give you and I'll charge half price up front and the other half when we meet up. It's like you would get in trouble for solicitation. But when a woman does it, she really believes that there's some gullible guy who's going to think, "Oh, if I just pay her this, she will like me back." Is she dumb enough to think any guy with half a brain would fall for such an obvious scam? I told you when men are desperate, and they will you can get them to do pretty much anything. Mm. Apparently, she needed money to fund for her college fees and stuff. How did you pay for college? Oh, I just went online and offered to people to see me in a provocative, lewd position. Because remember, there's no jobs you can get besides that if you're in college. You have to do that to pay for it. I mean, there's nothing else you can do. Even though you would think doing that would be more damaging than whatever. I'm not even going to get into the semantics of it. Like hell no, after you pay that half price, she'll most likely do with your money and not give you anything in return. Yeah, bunch of con artists. Tell you this is the era of scammers. They're always trying to fool somebody. Now make sure when you take your official camera booth picture with this actress that you don't try to kiss her or she doesn't try to kiss you. I was like, they really think I'm just they truly believe fans are just the dumbest people on earth. Like we all have these extremely tiny brains. We need to have everything explain. It's funny because like the stuff they should be explained, they don't explain, and then the stupid stuff they have no problem like elaborating on. It's comedic to me. Like you show up to that place, no direction of where to go after you pay for the parking, but they got their money, so they're happy. Then you stand in a very long line. Then you finally get to come in there. And then you have to stand another long line and speak to the person. Usually, some guys probably would due to being so desperate of not getting anything remotely like that from a woman. Unfortunately, yeah. I tell you, I don't pretend that men aren't above falling for things or being treated because that's again like they're in a vulnerable position in general. Like they're just they're gonna put up with that stuff. Well, a good majority of fans are really dumb, so I understand. Like, but man, come on. You really think someone's gonna be like, time for me to take this picture with this actor, let me kiss them? Like, come on. You really think I'm gonna be dumb enough to try and kiss a married woman who is like twice my age, uh, in front of a camera that can take a picture of it to where they know they have like proof of it, and a bunch of security guards who could throw me out if I did something that was considered crass or abrasive or anything like that. I mean, it's just like that's why I said there's no logic to it. It's stupid. Oh yes, I was going to mention how rancid parking here in the UK is too. Better not get that yellow ticket on your car. I'll tell you my biggest pet peeve, paying for parking. I think it's one of the dumbest things. What average person gonna just up and kiss a stranger? That's my point. And remember, this isn't even like some kind of thing in a dark alley. We're talking about like in a public place with dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of people, to where even if you tried to do that, you would still probably get apprehended. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Like there would be no benefit from it. And I would explain to you, I don't even like touching these people. I didn't touch her. She touched me. Put her hand on my back for the first picture, and then my hand like right here on my shoulder for the neck for the other one. That but I I had no physical involvement when they went there at all. So that's why I said it's really ironic. It's like the celebrities are the ones that put their hands on people, not the certainly not me. I don't even feel comfortable touching anyone, especially a woman, man. That's with my background of being accused of things I didn't do time and time again. And you think I'm gonna try and kiss a celebrity? You think I have a death wish? But you see, as Justin mentioned earlier, you wouldn't need to feel this way when you meet celebrities like 20 or 30. Yeah, you didn't. Like I said, you can go and look at convention pictures from the early 2000s and even the 90s. People liked being around famous people. They would hug up on each other. I've seen pictures where there's guys that will hold up an actress with both hands. I mean, again, back then people actually like enjoyed poses and just doing stuff in front of a camera. Nowadays it's all I put my hand on this person. Okay, I'll pretend to be happy, right? But it's not real, man. It's all just half baked. Especially when you're getting charged this damn much. Like I know there's no way in hell anybody was charging $40 for a picture back in the 90s or the early 2000s. I know I even spoke to a guy who was there that said that it used to be like $10 including an autograph. So that's how just rancid this stuff has become. Yeah, I look at old convention photos and the fans look genuinely happy to be there. Do I remember this one picture I saw Mark Hamill at I don't know if it was it was some event with fans where he posed with like this big group of them, like they all surround. And I thought to myself, you think they all had to pay him individually to have him pose for that picture? No. But again, that's when someone actually wants to be with the people that like the stuff they're in, versus someone who's like, okay, how much money can I make off of these suckers? I mean, these fans. Okay, good. They look like an actual fan base instead of just a mass of people who walk around like zombies and have sour attitude because something mildly annoys them. You get my point that there is no basically the commercialization of everything has caused it to where there's no sincerity anymore. Like, hey, you're a fan of what I've made? Oh, okay, let's take a picture together. You don't get that from these people. You get, oh, you're a fan of what I've made? Oh, thanks. You want an autograph for $60 or a picture with me for $40? Like, does that sound like someone who genuinely wants to be around fans and do things with them and interact with them? No, it doesn't. That's why I said everything is commercialized. You can't believe a single thing you hear, especially when money is involved. It amplifies it tenfold, dude. And like I said, I I can be sympathetic to the idea that they want something, right, for an autograph, right, of course. But for the pictures, I just can't spin it, man. Like, especially again the price. Like if it were $10, 5, pushing it at 20, but 40 just to stand next to someone in the same image. I'm not even kidding. Like when I took the picture, I actually had the revelation. I was like, wow, this is the first time I've been touched by a woman who wasn't a member of my family in a semi-intimate way. I think in what, 5 years, 7 years, you have to pay for it too. Even if it's like no romantic thing. I just always find that so funny. Like, it's always just again, it's all commercialization. Any attempt at pretending to be interested in someone or wanting to, show some kind of actual excitement to see them, it's all just just fictitious. It's all based around currency and the illusion of a desire to be with them. Funny, but also depressing. I really had that revelation. I was like, I'm not used to being, you know, taken by the back, so to speak. Because even when me and my friend take pictures, it's usually we just stand somewhere. I take the photo, whatever. Um, so I was like, wow, this is the first time in a long time. Like my mind actually, I was like, when is the last time this type of thing happened where a woman I'm not related to touched me in that way? Like in any, it's not even, I'm not even talking about like no any kind of like, again, no, I'm not speaking on anything romantic, just in the sense of, when has one of them ever, again, on a semi physically intimate way, taken me in such a manner? I couldn't recall. It's been a very, 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 very long time. But again, the same overtones are all still there. Any semblance of excitement to see you is based around currency, and that's what always causes it to not feel real. Because for these people to get excited about posing with you or doing anything with you, you need to give them some coins. It's all so miserable and inhuman. But Gumi, I really did think, like, I was taken aback by the, because I figured, you just stand next to the person, take the picture, whatever, because that has happened. You know what I'm talking about. You just stand together and then you take the photo. I was like, when has someone touched me like that? Like, when's the last time that happened? I said, man, we really do live in an era that lacks any personal connection, any type of I mean, it's everything is just by the numbers. It's just interesting to me how, like, even that is so rare. Like, you can be around all these damn relatives, but I mean, how often do any of them actually hug each other? Or I mean, I've mentioned before, some of them won't even say hello to you unless, or call you at all. And that's why I said, like, I'm not someone who would ever believe a celebrity cares for me, because I know that my own family doesn't. So it's like, that's why I said everything just feels so, like, distant even when it's not. People will probably make fun of that, but it is very true, and I totally relate to it because it's such a huge problem. Well, look, I it's not something I really tried to harp on. I certainly didn't make any mention of it in that extremely brief interaction. I'm just telling you that as someone who is around the same set of people basically every day, none of them do anything like that. A lot of them don't even want to take a picture with you. I mean, and even if they did, it's like, they're not going to do any funny poses. They're not going to try to, like, grab you. Or I'm serious that I was taken aback from that, because it's just not a thing I'm used to. So they can make fun of whatever they want. I'm just telling the truth. I really can't remember the last time someone took me by the back and posed for an image, or just any, again, any like assertiveness in terms of their uh manner of touching. And that's one of the reasons why I said this era is so awful, because thanks to Me Too and the rest of that stuff, I'm just always on edge as to, okay, gotta make sure I keep my hands to myself. And of course, when someone does something like that, I don't freak out and go, "Oh my god, I feel so uncomfortable," because I don't. But it's just funny how it's all rules for me, but not for thee. Like anyone else can do whatever they like, but you have to follow this stringent code as to not get in trouble over something stupid. Dude, I mean, straight guy in this era is like, again, the death curse. You got a target on your back. I really am thinking of reviving that video and talking about all the occasions where I got made fun of for asking some girl out, and how nuts it was that that's what you're apparently supposed to do if you're straight, but then you still get made fun of anyway. I relate to that. It genuinely feels like commercialization and social media is ripping us apart in terms of genuine connection. It's making us greedy, divisive, and alienated. Tell you, I don't even, it really does feel like you're a damn, like you're basically deceased even if you're alive, because people that claim to care about you don't try to do anything with you. Um, I mean, it's all just so distant from each other. That's why in that moment I said, "Whoa, this is a not a normal thing that tends to happen. What is this?" Because like I said, even the most basic of physical contact, I'm just not used to anymore, because people don't do it. They don't hug you. They don't, you know, again, take you by the back or put their hand around your waist or whatever. It's not something I'm used to. Decreased even though you're alive. I mean, hey, if you ask that one chick that's been ignoring for 2 months, I might as well be deceased. I'm serious. Like I actually did pause to think about that for a second, because I was like taken aback by it. Like, wow, I'm actually being touched by someone in a semi affectionate manner. What a strange occurrence. I tell you, man, we're getting to a point where people are gonna have to start paying for hugs. It's gotten so ridiculous. Things that many others, of course, have received for free is what gets me. What's next? Our bed's gonna start charging us to sleep in them. I mean, they already do that at hotels, so I guess so. No, I'm just saying that's why when I talk about the decline, it really is the idea that you can have two living parents, you can have a bunch of relatives that live in the same city as you, and on any given day of the week, you can still feel as if you don't matter, as if you're alone, as if you're just this thing that they don't even acknowledge the existence of, because they don't. So that's why I said, when you go to an event like that and even if you have to pay for it, there's still someone that when you take an image with them, they try to like put their hand on you again for like the purpose of the picture. It still kind of like catches you off guard because you're just not used to any semblance of physical affection. Like you're just it's not a thing that is normal to you because you don't have it. Even with the people that you're around every day. God, you don't know how rare getting a hug is. I think I might have had maybe three of those in the span of the previous year. Um, just, that's why I said it's just the more I think about stuff, it just kind of gets more depressing. Oh, 20 years ago, it wasn't like that. No, it wasn't. Told you I've had when we did We Can't Go Back. I talked about the three relatives that have passed in the last 6 years and how with two of them, almost every time I saw them, I would give them a hug. One of them I would call every single day. I would maybe see him in person maybe like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times a year, but I would call him every single day for years. Um, and again, like I feel the emptiness of that ever since. It was much more affectionate, genuine, and intimate. Family members and friends, etc. And now look at them. They don't even. A lot of them don't even call you. If you see them in person, they just. It's usually by happenstance. Oh, you're at the mall too. Oh, me too. That's why I said everything is just so distant. Now, Megumi, I'm probably gonna end the stream soon, but if I do, I want you to know that you can get my autograph. It's just gonna cost you $60, and if you want a picture with me, it's gonna be 40. And if you want to park around my area, that's 15. If you entrance into my house, that's 30. You can get the 2-day weekend pass for 60. And if you want a digital copy of the picture that we're taking together, that's another $10. Now, if you, God, I said I'm surprised they didn't try to charge me for breathing. Everything is just money, 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 money. Can't ever forget about the absurd things they price. Man, I'm telling you, parking should have been free. The digital copy of that picture should have been free. Honestly, I just think the pictures because you know that like with again the autograph, $60 is not some tiny itty bitty amount of money. So if you're getting 60 from the signature, you either make I hate this term selfies free, or you make them 20 or like half the price of whatever that thing was. I just think some of this stuff should have been made more affordable, but we're just dealing with modern greed, and that's one of the worst things about modern greed. It causes people to care more about them, like care about themselves to such an extent that they are inconsiderate of others. Because, like I said, if that thing had been 20 instead of 40, I could have gotten somebody else too. But it's a writing; it should cost that much. It shouldn't cost that much. Look, all I'm saying is I kind of understand the autographs being that price because again, you can take it online and so we can agree to disagree. I'm just explaining you. I'm more sympathetic towards that than a photo. Um, But either way, it's just I just think stuff was priced too high. Especially remember, cash only. Dude, every time I go somewhere and it says cash only, I just cringe. I'm like, you guys really think I'm just gonna walk around with 100, 200, $300 everywhere I go? Everything is just it's not even that they want money, it's also they want it in this specific way because that really did mess me up. I did not get to enjoy that convention as much as I would have if they had told me in advance. So that's a L on their part. The digital copy was was absurd. Dude, $10 to get a PNG or a JPEG file of a picture you already paid for. Dude, a picture like, the digital copy costing that much costs more than a damn, I mean, I that's like a I could get, like, what, 8 things of soup from the market for $10, which is probably a good 2 days worth of food at minimum or 3 days worth of food. Like, that's really insane that that even, like, factored into their it's all just tacky, man. But anyways, I have a, job interview I gotta go to. It starts at 12, 30-minute drive, so Imma try to go up here and get some gas and then be on my merry way. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I went longer than I intended because you showed up an hour into it, so I had to make sure you got the full recap of the absurdities of the pricing of things and just how nothing is real. Like to get an actor or actress or famous person to even acknowledge you and be nice to you, you have to give them some money. Um, to even get them to want to do something as minimal as take a photo with you, you have to give them some money. To even get them to write their name on a piece of paper, have to give them some money. To even get them to touch you, have to give them some money. So that's why I said I'm not surprised because, again, if members of my own family don't care about me, I know I can reasonably infer celebrities probably don't either. But at the same time, I think it's really absurd that you have to pay such insane prices just for a picture. That was my biggest issue. I thought it just cost way too much. The conventions website facilitator should be ashamed of themselves or himself or herself, whoever it was, because they didn't explain things clearly. Like the fact that these people were going to take pictures with cash only. If I knew that, it would have been a much better experience. So all in all, I don't regret going, but I do regret the prices and the lack of clarity on the part of the people that were in charge of things. And just remember, anytime you see a celebrity, always remind yourself that there is an extremely high chance that that person does not care about you and can only be given money as to possibly pretend that they do. And that's the tragedy of modern interactions. Everything is based around greed and trickery. And I for one am tired of getting scammed.